welcome. My name is Ori, and I am an English mother tongue teacher. I have been teaching English for over 20 years. I have worked with students of all ages, children, teenagers, and adults, and from all walks of life. If there is one thing I know for sure, that is, English is not just a subject you study, but it is an incredibly practical skill and a tool to have. And I know another thing: English can be mastered. That's why I created the Get Going Experience podcasts, to help you use English in real life, step by step, and with confidence. Many students of mine said to me during their first lesson, "Oh, I understand English when I read, but I can't understand when people speak." Or, "I know the grammar, but I'm afraid to speak. What if I make a mistake?" And, "I want to speak English, but I don't know the words." Since I've found this to be very common, I've often asked my students why it is that many of them struggle to speak English confidently. Unfortunately, more often than not, the cause lies in their school history, where fanatic Italian English teachers overused their own language, corrected every single teeny tiny mistake, or rarely encouraged an open conversation in English. So students ended up being anxious and afraid of speaking in English. Instead of creating a relaxed, engaging environment, lessons became reading and comprehension grammar focused and stressful. Furthermore, never given the chance to practice the grammar, but forced to exercise and drill over and over again, they ended up with knowing all the rules, but having no idea how to apply them. And these same students have never been able to overcome this barrier until the Get Going method. Yes, that's right. People who engage in this method overcome their fear and anxiety and simply start speaking in English. If you are one of these people, if you feel like this, know that you're not alone and that these podcasts are for you. The Get Going Experience podcasts will help you with 3 important skills. 1. Listening. That is to understand spoken English. 2. Speaking. That is to say your own ideas out loud in English. And 3. Interaction, which means building confidence to talk to others in English. The Get Going Experience method is simple and effective. Each issue has 2 podcasts. In the first podcast, you listen to a story or some useful information in English. It's about everyday topics, things like work, travel, hobbies, daily life, or entertainment. In the second podcast, I ask you questions about what you heard in the first podcast. But it doesn't stop here, because it is at this point that you also speak. Once you've listened to the 2 podcasts, You will go on to record your answers on your phone or device. You can listen to yourself speaking English. If you don't like how it sounds, not to worry. You can delete the audio and try again, as many times as you want. This is your space to practice without fear and get better with every try. Each podcast isn't too long, only 3 to 5 minutes. There are longer versions for those of you who are more adventurous, and those you can find on Spotify and YouTube. The normal podcast lessons, listening plus questions, takes around 10 minutes total. This means you can practice English on the bus, during a coffee break, at home, while walking your dog, or even when you're cooking dinner. You don't need to sit at a desk. You don't need a textbook. Just your phone and a few minutes of focus. The English in these podcasts is real, modern, and useful. You'll hear natural conversations, practical vocabulary, everyday grammar, and expressions, useful expressions for speaking and understanding. Sometimes I will explain something in a simple way. Other times you'll learn from context, just like in real life. These podcasts are perfect if you want to improve your listening and speaking skills, or if you want to prepare for an English language exam, if you want to practice speaking alone and building confidence, or perhaps learn useful English for travel, work, or study, or just simply to enjoy learning something new every week. I know learning English can feel hard. Sometimes we feel shy or afraid to make a mistake. But don't worry, this is a safe space to practice. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to get going. Every time you listen, every time you record your answers on your device, you are improving. Even 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. So are you ready to begin? Let's get going and keep going together. Now go ahead and start with the first listening episode and enjoy the journey. Welcome, listening and comprehension questions. 1. What is the name of the English teacher in the podcast? 2. How many years has Ori been teaching English? 3. Which 3 skills do the podcasts help you improve? 4. What do you do in the second podcast of each topic? 5. What can you do if you are not happy with your recorded answer? 6. How long is each podcast episode? 7. Name 2 places where you can listen to the podcast. 8. What kind of English will you hear in the episodes? 9. What is Ori's message about learning English? 10. What is the name of the podcast method?